Hey, hi everyone. Good evening. So finally, the most awaiting, talk or the discussion of CCI, a fantastic out of the box topic, which again our D Krishnabai has come up with. That is motivational talk from the masters' minds. So this is something like वो एक episode आता है in this thing where you come to know about the secrets of the magic. So this is somewhere like they will reveal their secrets, like how do they do this magic? How they have come up all the way right from I would say hatching and reaching till the dais. So let us just hear from our stalwarts right now, the panelists, a fantastic panelist. It's going to be really difficult for me to handle all of them. I'm actually having a feeling like the last bencher of the class is taking a viva of the creamiest layer of the class. Somewhere a really tough job given to me right now. To come up with the panel right now, we have our own Dr. Agam Vora sir, none other than Dr. Agam Vora from Mumbai, who is Medical Director of Vora Clinics Mumbai and Governor of our West CCI, General Secretary Association of Physicians of India. And next, followed by that, we have our own Dr. BV Murali Mohan sir, who is a senior most consultant pulmonologist and academic director, Department of Internal Medicine from Narayana Hrudaya, Bengaluru. He doesn't require any introduction. He himself, his name himself is calm, composed as his name. Seriously, with a big smile always on his face. And next we have our own Dr. Vrushali Khadke from Pune. And fitness, if you think about fitness and pulmonology together, it has to be Vrushali. Definitely, yes. Interventional pulmonologist from Pune Hospital, that is Inamdar Hospital, Pune. I welcome you over here. And we also have the Dr. Raja Dhar. Everyone knows Dr. Raja, SRK of CCI, I would say. Definitely SRK. The Director and Head of Department of Pulmonology at CK Birla Hospitals, Kolkata. There is none person who can, who don't know who Raja Dhar is. And our own, the most favorite of CCI, I would say, who brings smile on each and everyone's face, ready to be on face, ready to be on WhatsApp. But that smiley is the thing which has to be, when there is a smiley, there has to be Amita Nene. Yes, Dr. Amita Nene from Mumbai, Head of Department Respiratory Medicine from Bombay Hospital, Mumbai. I welcome you all on behalf of CCI, and really I take this as an honor and my pleasure to moderate this session, that is motivational talks from you all, the master's mind. So let us not waste the time and directly jump to Dr. Agam Vora sir first. I would really, right now there was a video which was viral of Dr. Agam Vora, the TED Talk video. And that talk, trust me, Dr. Agam sir, I have heard that video 3 times. And I realized one thing, मैं तो आज भी हिंदी में ही बात करता हूँ बीच में, पता है मेरी इंग्लिश टूटी फूटी है और मेरी इंग्लिश भी वैसे ही है, इंग्लिश छोड़ो मेरी तो हिंदी भी वैसे ही है. I'm a proper मुंबईकर हिंदी, मुंडा भाई MBBS जिसको बोलते हैं, उस तरीके की हिंदी आज भी मेरी है. I would really love to listen from you, sir, live, you are live right over here, your journey from your own mouth, sir. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much. And I must thank CCI for giving me this opportunity to be here. And I had prepared a small kind of, talk today. So good evening, everybody. And thank you, Vikas, for those nice words of introduction. And I must thank CCI for giving me this opportunity to be here. It really means lots to me. I must thank everybody for joining in here because it's only your time, the best gift that you can give. It's not any present, it's no money that matters. It's only your time that when you give it to somebody, when your years that you give to somebody, it matters, and your presence really matters to me. I'm really fortunate that I'm here in front of my own family. That is my CCI family. That is here to encourage me, to support me, and to listen to all my nonsense. And you've done this for last 5, 6, 7 years, and I thank you for that. But uska ek aur meaning bhi hai, In other words, by listening to me today, you're giving birth to one flop, one disastrous, one budding motivational speaker. And I'm sure the entire world is going to curse you all in future for encouraging me. And my all sympathies for you. I do not know why I am here. And whenever I think about why me, my favorite story comes to my mind. I'm sure a lot of you would have seen this slide earlier. But when I think of why me, it reminds me of that story where a cow is kept in the exams and you have all three categories. You have undergraduate, you have postgraduate, and you have so-called super specialist or what I would call today as masters here. So you have undergraduate student who's looking at it and says, white color, 4 legs, gives milk, 100% cow. And when a specialist looks at it, he said it's a 4-legged white creature giving milk. So cow to hai, but differential diagnosis will have a buffalo which is suffering from albinism that I have, or it may be a goat which is suffering from obesity, and then comes specialist or master, so-called master, says this is mammal giving milk. What it is exactly will be confirmed only after a certain set of investigations, and that is what is master all about. And you know why I am here, because it's the specialist who knows more and more about less and less, knows everything about nothing. And who can be a better person to confuse on such complicated topic but me? The whole thing started when, Krishna saw this stupid talk. I was asked to address students on this TEDx talk, and I did not know what to do. So I chose to speak about dreams. I'm a very strong believer of dreams. I'm a believer of power of subconscious mind. It is about a decade ago, I attended a class by Dr. Adia, and he was talking about this power of subconscious mind, and he gave me a very simple formula of dreaming. All you have to do is dream, visualize that dream, put all those dreams on piece of paper, maybe make a screensaver, maybe make a picture on your mobile, and every time keep it in front of your eyes. These dreams must become your passion. These dreams must become the purpose of your life. And as Vikas Bhai said about Shah Rukh Khan, the way Shah Rukh Khan says, Puri kainat jud jati hai to make it happen. The whole universe conspires to make your dream fulfill. And it worked for me. Look at this gaon ka chora, a Gujju boy, vernacular, middle class family, and he gets a chance to be here. He gets a chance to make a small difference. Imagine if Agam Vora can get a chance to be on such prestigious platform. I'm sure all of you would wonder, what is so special about him? Trust me, there is only one answer, and that is nothing. There is nothing absolutely extraordinary about me. When it comes to motivation, sometimes you go looking for motivation. Look at this guy who's running, motivated to run and be physically fit. But sometimes motivation finds you. And you're trapped in such a situation where you're left with no chance, no choice, but to perform and to excel. God gave me friends like you. And friends like you made me think, made me read, and made me talk about motivation. Look at me, 90 kg, obese, almost cylindrical, my shape, I'm sure everybody has seen. Hypertensive, diabetic, you know that I've got obsessive compulsive disorder, multiple cavities in tooth. To top it up now, vitiligo, alopecia, almost alopecia totalis. Name the vices. And these vices are now my necessities of life. Early osteoporosis, little bit, thoda hi hai, but then little bit ED, diabetes की वजह से, insomnia. हमने भूल जाता हो रे कितनी सारी चीजें. English, very poor English. And of course, knowledge below average. Wisdom to bhul hi jao. I made multiple flop projects, I lost huge money. I do not find myself worthy to give this motivational talk. पता नहीं आप लोग ने क्या देखा. If you want to know how flop son I am, you must ask my parents. How flop husband I am, ask Bijal, and she will open volumes. I think 1.5, 2 hours of seminar would be less when Bijal talks about, me as a flop husband. How flop student I am, all my teachers would agree, and they will have no doubts in their mind about it. I'm a flop doctor. So many mismanaged patients over the last decades. In fact, more number of mismanaged patients than managed patients. I'm a horrible organizer. All of you would have witnessed at one or the other time when I organized some program, and you would have been there and you would have realized how boring organizer I am. Financial planner, oof, my bank balances will give you testimony for it. And a bore speaker. Half of you would have already logged out, or half of you would have put your camera on and would have found something more interesting. And I asked God, why me? ये सब सारे combination मुझ में क्यों दिए? And he said, where were you? Where were you when we were distributing all virtues? He was so partial, He gave this beauty. Look at Amita, how beautiful she is. And it's a perfect balance of, that brain and beauty. He gave wisdom to Raja Dhar. Everybody waits to listen to him. A star speaker. Let me tell you a secret. If I'm jealous of somebody, he's on the topmost list. Look at Krishna. What a style he gave him. Who would have managed? Who would have imagined that a person from such a humble background, from a place which was hardly known, I used to think that I've traveled entire country, every corner of country I know, and I had not even heard about a place called Davangiri. And he hails from this place to find its place not only at a national level, but at international level. So that's the style that he gave it to Krishna. Knowledge, look at Vikas. I know him from good old days. The persistence, the dedication, the commitment that he has made him the icon for TB care in the country, not in country, international level. He gave this crowd pulling ability to Murali Mohan. Imagine, bhai jaa khada ho jata hai, वहां क्या बोलते कतार लग जाती है this Amitabh Bachchan style, and that is what Murali Mohan has got. Look at this magnetic personality Vrushali has, and I was left with nothing. यार कुछ बचा ही नहीं. So I decided to live a common man's life. The most difficult task, and that too when you have to do it with all these giants all around you. And I decided, साला chest में तो कुछ होगा नहीं अपना. Let's try something new. Let's try something this out of the box. And that's how the whole thing came up. But still I was depressed here. I told Krishna, kya yaar, kuch nahi diya Bhagwan ne itna. So he sent me a motivational message. I'm sure a lot of you would have heard about it. He said, in the jungle, which is the biggest animal? And I said, it's simple. That's going to be elephant. Okay. In the jungle, which is the tallest animal? Giraffe, goes without saying. Okay. Which is the wisest? Fox. Which is the fastest? Cheetah. And among all these wonderful qualities, where is lion? Can you say lion is the king of the jungle without possessing any of these qualities? Why? Because lion has courage. Lion is very bold. Lion, not the bald, but bold. Lion is always ready to face challenges, any barrier, any obstacle that comes to his path, no matter how big, how bad, he would try. He walks with confidence. He dares anything and is never afraid of anything. He believes that he's unstoppable. He's a risk taker, and he is the one who believes that any opportunity is worth trying for. So, this is what we get to learn from Lion. He says, you don't need to be fastest, you don't need to be smartest, you don't need to be wisest, you don't need to be brilliant most. You don't need to be accepted to achieve your dreams, to be great in life. All you need is courage. All you need is your will to try. All you need is your faith to believe in that, yes, it's possible. All you need to believe is believe in yourself. Yes, you can do it. At the time to bring about that lion in you. So say Stay motivated. Face the terrible and face it boldly. It is the attitude that makes you what you are today. And it does not matter what others think about you, but what matters is how you look at yourself. Look at this. How others see you is not important, but what is most important is how you see yourself. And that means everything. So trust me. This is one more slide which talks about कहते हैं परछाइयां कभी धोखा नहीं देती. Look at this picture and I'm sure everybody will have ideas about somebody kissing somebody. But the truth is, look at this. तो परछाइयां भी कभी कभी तो धोखा देती. You're not what you look like in your Aadhaar card. You're not what you look like in your maybe voter's ID card. But you're also not what your wife finds you. But what you are is what your mother actually tells you. For my mother, I'm still those 32 Lakshana Putra bolte hain na. Though it is complete nonsense, complete absurd, but still I've started believing in it. And I was talking to you about this out of the box thinking. So, when I was thinking about this out of the box thinking, it reminded me of a story which I read or which I'm told in my early childhood. It is a story about that elephant. That elephant is such a huge creature. And whenever you see that elephant, it is tied with only a small rope, which is tied on the front leg. There are no cages, there are no chains. And it is obvious that any time it could break away from that simple rope. And when you ask trainer, how it is that such a huge animal is tied only with one rope, and they tell you that it is during the early childhood or when they're very young, this small rope ties them. They're not able to, get rid of it. And as they grow, this condition or this belief that they cannot break away remains in them. And they don't try. They don't try to break free. And unless you break free, unless you get out of this conventional thinking, you cannot do miracles. I was once with Shivani Ben, and Shivani Ben was talking about self-confidence, self-control. She was talking about controlling your emotions. And she gave me a fantastic example. She said, imagine you are in your beautiful car. Say you are in a bigger car. Say you are in your Honda, you are in your Ciaz, and then you see a small car, relatively small car, parked next to you on a signal. Say a small Maruti, a small Alto car. And when the signal opens, it tries to probably, cross you and then goes faster than you, probably just touching your car or just missing that, scratch. And you lose control. You roll your window down and start abusing. That person is not going to be there in your life for more than 3 seconds. He's gone. After that, probably you're not going to see him ever in your life. But those 3 seconds make you so angry. You lose control. You lose your mood, and probably you're disturbed for next 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, depending on your nature. And she says, don't give your remote control to anybody. Keep it in your own control. Your reactions, your ego, it should not be given to anybody else. It must be kept under control. And she says, it is important to be happy. And happiness comes from within. You can always choose to be happy. That circle of life thing? A person on cycle looks at a person moving in the Alto car or a nano car looks at a Ciaz looks at Honda City looks at Mercedes looks at helicopter looks at jet plane, and goes, wish I could own a jet plane. And a pilot in the jet plane looks at a cyclist and thinks, if I get a chance to ride bicycle, I would have gala time. It's a complete circle of life where happiness could be a choice. And whenever I think of circle of life, my favorite slide always pops in, and it tells you, though I had, made this slide for explaining the success story, but I think it tells me about the circle of life. When you're born, success would mean not shitting in your pants. And as you move, you end also with the whole idea, with the same idea. Look at the age of 12, success may mean having a lot of friends. At the age of 18, it would mean having capacity to drive. At the age of 20, it would mean having sex. At the age of 35, it would mean having money. But then life circle takes a U-turn, And at the age 50, it still means having a lot of money. By then you have invested, misinvested, etc. and you've lost a lot of money. By the age 60, it's still your ability to have sex. By age 70, it's still having ability to drive. 75, it would still mean having friends, because by then you've lost most of them. And again, at the age of 80, it means not shitting in your pants again. And that completes the circle of life. The formula for me is very simple. Just dream, think out of the box, and don't lose control. Never take life very seriously. Take it very sincerely. Always laugh, smile, and still be sincere. There is a belief that if you smile, if you laugh, you take it very lightly, you're not sincere. But it's not that. You don't have to be serious. You have to be sincere. Be happy in whatever you do. Happiness, as I said, is a perception. You can always choose to be happy. Situation may not be always in your favor, but to choose to be happy, that power is with you. And trust me, it's only with you. Take vacations, go out with family and friends, but be obedient husband. Always obey to your wife. I remember that formula. I'm sure a lot of you would know it. My entire childhood, the school days are spoiled with this formula. A minus B or A plus B square, and it says A square minus 2AB plus B square. It was so important formula that time. Today is one more day, like last 40 years since I have learned this formula. So many days have passed where I don't have to use it. I never use this formula. So chill, take it easy, hang loose. From me to mastery is a myth. Just do anything that brings smile on your face, and success is waiting out there for you. For me, journey from me to mastery can be achieved by taking liberty to dream, thinking out of the box, by attitudes, without taking life very seriously, but taking sincerely. And as one of my close friends says, everyone here is unique. Everyone here is precious. Everyone here is such fantastic creation by God. And trust me, there is no duplicate. There is no copy of you in the entire universe. I would sign up by saying that your future depends on your dreams. So do dream. Go to sleep. Chill. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And just no words like, if we just feed or, just imprint all these words, whatever you spoke right now, trust me, 50% of my work is already done. And towards the perfectionist, that is having a great attitude towards life, your strong belief in life, believe in yourself, have good faith in whatever you do, just do it with a good courage. And yes, never lose control in life is what I learned today. And thanks a lot, Agam Vora sir, for giving this key. That is, success is nothing but just a myth. So just believe in yourself, have an attitude like a lion. And yes, you definitely you are going to become a king of the jungle.
Thank you very much.
yes, sir. Murali sir, please.
No, I said you should listen to everything Agam said, except the lies he told in the beginning about how useless he is at everything. Okay, Voto Pura, that was all lies. Ignore that part of it. The rest is brilliant.
This is just too good, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for enlightening us with such a great positive attitude towards life. Definitely, we all know about this, but still, when we listen from someone's mouth, that too who have just proved it, practically we are seeing it day in, day out. It gives more of inspiration and gives a lot of motivation to us. Thank you, sir. And next, I would like to call upon SRK of our CCI. Yes, none other than Dr. Raja Dhar, sir, for revealing his secrets of the magic, right from hatching towards the success in life. Dr. Raja Dhar from Kolkata.
Good evening, friends. It's great to see all of you on the CCI platform today. We're going to speak about something different today. I'm not sure I'm the best person for this. However, I'll give it my best shot. We'll speak about my experiences in medicine, how I have evolved as a doctor, and try and take learnings from those areas where I might have done things right and areas where I might have done things differently and I have found out that I have done things wrong by going down the wrong path. And I'll try and explain to you how things might have been done differently in those cases. So that's the exercise today. For the next 20 odd minutes, we'll speak about my experiences and how we might together do things better. How did it all start? So I belong to a middle-class family. My dad worked as an engineer and I was brought up in a Bengali family in Kolkata. I was the only son of my parents and I did not have any doctors in my family. I was an average student or maybe an above average student, reasonably quiet. And as things moved forward, the one thing that worked for me is that my results got better. I reached the stage when I finished school, and it was the point when I needed to start a profession. My mom wanted me to become a doctor. My dad wanted me to follow his footsteps and become an engineer. As luck would have it, I cleared both in the joint entrance exam, and I did not know what to do because I'd never thought about what was right for me. And that's one learning point that I learned for myself, and I'll share with you. The fact that it's probably not a good idea to have preconceived notions about what you want to do. The aim should be to try and do what you do well. When you're at the age when you're getting into a professional life or when you're doing your post-graduation, you are like clay. You can be molded into whichever shape and form that life takes for you. And if you do it well, if you do it with passion, if you do it with energy, chances are, a lot of chance is that you would end up doing it very well and your family would be proud of you. So I ended up doing medicine because my mother was more persuasive than what my dad was. My early learnings were from my school and from my parents. I learned about honesty, hard work, dedication, ethics, and motivation from my dad. I learned about love, caring, affection, fortitude, patience from my mom. It's not to say that I have all those qualities, but I did learn from them because you learn from your parents when you're young, along with your teachers and your friends. Going forward, I finished my MBBS. Again, I was above average, but I never got honors, never shone in college. However, I continued to get better as I moved forward in life. And I think the reason I did that was, as time went on, I liked my specialty better. I saw my peers, I got inspired by them. I thought I also needed to do well like my colleagues, my friends, my other classmates, batchmates who were better than I was. And that's another important thing, motivation. Self-motivation is difficult at a young age. You need to see others, but you also need to learn that life is not a race. It's not about one-upmanship. It's not about beating others, but it's about emulating what they do, trying to match up to what your peers do, get inspiration from them, and learn from them as you go along. So I finished my MBBS and I started studying for my post-graduation. I did that while I did my internship and then my housemanship. Very early on in my housemanship, I got into MD Gynae. And that was another learning for me. So the MD Gynae was not out of choice. I did not get MD medicine. My rank was not good enough. I liked Gynae, but I liked medicine better. I had studied hard for my postgraduate exams. It was not as if I had not tried, but luck maybe did not favor me at the time. I started doing Gynae with all passion. I learned reasonably well, but somewhere along the way, I thought I needed to give it another shot. So while I did not manage to study very well the second time around, I did manage to get medicine this time. I had the choice between taking medicine and respiratory medicine, and I chose respiratory medicine because the end point was something that I could see with respiratory medicine. It was a super specialty, which you could do with an MD. So in my life, that was the shortcut that I took. I often don't take shortcuts, but that was one shortcut that I took. I also thought in my own mind that this was one specialty which was bound to improve, bound to move up, because it was rock bottom at the time. People correlated it with tuberculosis. That was the only disease in the ambit of chest diseases. And I thought here was my chance to be a part of that upward curve, the upward graph, which this specialty was bound to take. So after doing a year of MD Gynae, I shifted to MD Respiratory. And here I learned something again. I did MD Respiratory in the same medical college where I did my MD Gynae. And the government bond said that I needed to return the money because I had wasted a seat. So I was ashamed I wasted a seat. However, I did not have the money to pay the government back. Neither did my parents have that money. So I worked for a year where I did not get a salary. However, I worked in a nursing home during the time, did night shifts, and earned the same amount of money doing it. It was not that I was impoverished. It was not as if my parents wouldn't have been able to pay for me. But that's another life lesson, that you need to stand upright. At some point of time in life, you need to own up in life and make sure that you are doing things on your own strength. If you did not do that, if your parents did it for you, at the end of the day, you would look back and think that life might have taken a different tack. It might have gone in a different direction if you had taken your own decision. So I was happy earning the money, working in that nursing home, and coming back in the morning and working day shifts in the hospital. This taught me another thing. This taught me that if you were uncomfortable, if your body was troubled, if you took pain and suffering, you learned better. I have always felt that unless you tried hard, unless you spend sleepless nights, unless you run and try and achieve what you want to achieve, it's going to be difficult for you to put value to what you've learned. It has to come with some amount of pain, because without pain, you will not really value what you get in life going forward. And that's something which has stayed back throughout my career and hopefully will do till my dying day. So that's another lesson that I learned at the time and I have shared with you. The other thing which happened was there was a sister of mine who had become a lawyer at the time. And she thought that I had grounds to actually file a case against the government for return of money, because she felt that working free of cost was not something that the government could make a postgraduate trainee do. Slow behold, to cut a long story short, when I was in my third year, I got the entire year worth of salary, which was a saving for me. So come my third year, I again copied, I emulated, I got motivated by my peers, and I appeared for the membership exam. I did my first MBBS exam, I did my PLAB, and I went off to the UK after clearing my MD. So I went to the UK about 3 months after doing my MD degree. UK was a different ball game for me. I think I said that I was the only son of my parents. I had led a life which was reasonably protected. It was cushioned. I was well looked after. So going to the UK was a shock for me. And it was a shock for me for more than one reason. It was an alien country. I had never been outside my own country before I went to train in the UK. The other shocker was that the easiest exam I did in my life, which was the PLAB exam, I failed the first time around. I won't give excuses. Maybe the preparation was not good enough. However, the fact remains that I failed the exam, and I was 3 months there with not much money to fend for myself. However, again, this taught me something. It taught me to value money, to understand the humble backgrounds that we all come from, and the fight that you have to do to fend for yourself and move forward in life. So eventually I did manage to pass the exam. I did get a job, and then it was smooth sailing thereafter. I worked in the UK and I loved working there. You would hear plenty of people talking about experiences in the UK which were far from pleasant. I never faced any racism. I was well supported. I thought that I had a very fair deal in the UK. I still have friends in the UK whom I treasure, and I love as much as I do my friends from India. So I trained in the UK. I was lucky. I got through in the training program of the UK and then started working as a consultant. However, I had gone to the UK for training. I wanted to come back to India, and unlike a lot of other people, I won't blame my parents and the fact that I was the only son as the reason for coming back to India. I came back to India because I felt that I should give back to my country from what I have learned. A doctor's training in this country, believe it or not, is a lot of money. I'm not talking about money I spent. I actually did my training free of cost, to be honest. I trained to become a doctor without spending much money. But I'm told the government today spends 1.7 crore rupees, 1.7 crore rupees to make a doctor. And that's not me saying it. It is the All India Institute of Medical Sciences which has come up with that number. So I trained to become a doctor about 20 years ago, or even more than that maybe. However, the cost would probably be half of what I have just quoted, which is still an enormous number. So I came back to the country to give back some of what I had learned. I'm not for a moment suggesting that we should work free of cost. I'm not against doctors earning money. I'm not against doctors working hard, earning and living a life which is maybe not full of luxury, but at least comfortable. However, I think we need to work for it. And if you work to being a good doctor, a compassionate human being, someone who can hold your patient's hand and make sure they're well looked after, money will come chasing you. And I tell you this from personal experience. Try it. Make sure that you learn your skills well. Make sure you train well. Make sure you're compassionate, humane, because that's what medicine is all about. And if you manage to do that, I can promise to you that the sky is the limit as far as earnings are concerned. So come back to my story again. I started working in the private sector and learning started again. The health system in India works very differently to what it does in the UK. An important point again, which I learned as I went along, was not to change the values that you learn in the UK. You know, the National Health Service in the UK delivers treatment free of cost. It is not free. The people there pay taxes. The money comes from these taxes, but your healthcare is covered there. And hence, you treat patients depending on what their eligibility is, what is right for them, what the guideline is, what the protocol is, rather than changing it for individuals based on finances. That's something that you need to do in this country anyway, but do it based on the patient's paying capacity. Don't do it for the healthcare system that you work in. Don't do it because you want to earn more, because if you did the right thing, like I said a little while ago, you're actually going to make far more money that way. Make sure as you go along that you're happy to learn. I learn every day, and I don't say this because it sounds good. I honestly learn every day. I learn from my seniors, I learn from my juniors and my peers. And there's something worth learning from each individual that you meet. Make sure you know what your strengths are. Make sure what your weaknesses are, even more important. And learn to acknowledge them. Learn to say that this is something I'm not good at. If you don't know something, please make sure that you acknowledge that you don't know. That's important. That's honesty. That's transparency. And if you did that, you would understand the value of what you know even better. Come back to our specialty again. In respiratory medicine, the sky is the limit today. You guys out there are advantaged in that you are in a specialty which is going up. and will continue to go up for the next 15 to 20 years. I used to say 10 years till 2019. I have added another 10 simply because of COVID. Viral infections, respiratory viral infections are here to stay. The focus will be on you guys. Pulmonologists across the world, pulmonologists in India would be soaring up. Interventions are rife, learn them, but don't become a scope monkey. Respiratory medicine is not just about interventions. It's not just about putting the scope down, learning new procedures. Learn the basics. Learn how to treat your bread and butter, your asthma, COPD, interstitial lung disease, pulmonary hypertension, sleep, but find out an area of subspecialty interest, which is outside interventional pulmonology. I'm not trying to dissuade you from learning interventions. I love interventions. I like doing them. But I would hate to be called an interventional pulmonologist full stop. I'm a pulmonologist first and then an interventionist. So remember that, learn that as you go along, because you need to see patients well, you need to diagnose diseases, you need to empathize with them, communicate with them, and then the interventions will come far after. The other important thing to remember is that medicine is a team game. This is not just about respiratory medicine, it's about any specialty in medicine. And you need to learn how to be a team member and a team leader depending on what the circumstances are. Learn to work with people. Understand that like you, other people will have weaknesses and flaws. Recognize them, acknowledge them, correct them, support these people, be cross with them. But don't fall out with people because they're not intelligent enough, because they're not as intelligent as you are, not as bright as you are. Because then you don't bond with people. You don't make friends. You need friends in this profession, like any other profession. You need collegiality. You need to make sure that you build up a large group which goes up together, grows up together, bonds well, because otherwise the fun of doing medicine, the intricacies of medicine, the various facets that you do, the physiotherapy, the nursing, the housekeeping, the security, all of these people bond together to make one team, and they have important functions in your team. Make sure that you acknowledge these individuals. Make sure that you pat them on the back. We are very good at finding faults with people. We are not very good at acknowledging when people do well in life. Make sure that you make at least 2 or 3 people smile on a daily basis. They could be your friends, they could be your patients, they could be your colleagues, they could be anyone that you meet on the street. Empathize with your patients. I think that's an important lesson. Make sure that your patients and their families feel that you are on their side. You're with them. A lot of the walls that get created between patients, relatives, and the healthcare workers is simply because of the lack of transparency, lack of communication, lack of honesty. Make sure that you treat your patients the way you would like to be treated when you are a patient. Don't lower your expectations because you're treating other people. Let the expectations remain the same as they would do if it was your family which was unwell. Teach and learn how to teach well. If you do not teach, the number of people that you can actually influence and get better remains far lower. You could see a handful of patients. I'm sure some of you see maybe 100 patients a day. And if you do that for 20 years, that is a lot of people. However, if you can teach 100 others to do what you do well, you could probably reach out to a far greater number in the way of humanity. So try teaching, support others, support your juniors and your peers. Make sure that the skills you have, you can transfer on to others so that they can transfer it to other people. And there's a chain going forward. Learn to teach well. If you did that, you can make a huge difference to the world of medicine. Try and learn a little bit of research. You don't need to be a researcher. We are all clinicians. But try and learn the art of research, even if it's simple clinical research, observational studies, do that. Try and participate in pharmaceutical research because it tells you how you could go about doing cutting-edge research. And you might just find that you are the person who was cut out for research, and you might want to change tacks and do some amount of clinical medicine and some amount of research. I think I've spoken long enough. I hope you find this meeting useful. There's other people who will speak in this meeting who've done very well in life. People I am proud of the fact that they're my friends. I thank Dr. Krishna for having thought of this meeting. He's a man with a vision. And again, you have people like him, people with a vision who can make a change in the way medicine works in the country. A big thank you to all my CCI friends. I'm sorry I couldn't join you in person today. I've got an engagement that I cannot break today. However, I wish you happy listening. I hope you learn little nuggets with these conversations, with these lectures, which you find useful in later life. And I wish you all the very best going forward. Thank you very much.
Wow, this was just too good. I had taken a liberty to call him as SRK of CCI, but now after listening to him, there is only one single word which is coming in my mind, that is diamond. Yes, diamond gets the brilliance from three things, reflection, refraction, and dispersion. And that's what somewhere resembles even Raja Dhar. That is three main qualities what I learned today from him: dedication, passion, and honesty. Truly, the way he is shining today, the way diamond shines because of they have high refractive index. The diamond is cut in such a way that a ray of light falling on it reflected many times within the diamond itself is what today we could see from Dhar also today. Thanks a lot, Dr. Raja Dhar, for enlightening us with and revealing your secrets of all your success. And trust me, it's definitely going to make a lot of difference in each and everyone's life over here. Now, moving forward, I would be really happy. We have a fantastic panel over here right now. We have Dr. Murali Mohan sir, we have Dr. Vrushali, and yes, our smiley logo, that is Dr. Amita Nene ma'am, live over here, along with our own Dr. Agam sir, and would just like to start a panel and would invite rather all the questions whichever is there in your mind. Whoever needs to know, want me to reveal their secrets, or whether I'm missing to unlock that particular secret, so just let me know so that I can just catch hold of them particularly over here personally. My first question to Dr. Murali sir, how is it possible to have such a silent ease, a fantastic smile on face? And when I see your face, it really somewhere enlightened me as your name itself, Murali Mohan, a Krishna, where you can where you just glow with the knowledge which you have in your brain, but a small and cute smile on your face, which just tells and speaks everything. I really want to know, sir, how did you manage this, and how do you come ahead like the way?
I don't know if I deserve all that, but I think one is naturally, calm or excitable or, angry. That's one of those basic personalities. And over time, you just work on those things that help to improve that characteristic if it's good for you. So I've always found that being calm works for me, not getting too excited, not allowing outside praise or criticism to deflect you from what you believe is right. So a lot of what Raja said resonates with my life, and yet at the same time, there are so many very big differences. For instance, what he was talking about, he comes from a family where he's the only doctor. For me, it's the exact opposite. I'm actually a 4th generation doctor. My daughter is a 5th generation doctor. So, medicine is in my blood. And yet in my generation, I'm the only doctor in my, entire large family. It's a very large family. My father had 4 brothers and 2 sisters, and I'm the only doctor among all of them. So I think, there are certain responsibilities that come with medicine, that there is bullying from the day you join college by your peers. You get ragged in the beginning, and that helps you to remain calm. If you can make it through ragging, you can make it through anything else. So it's not a bad thing necessarily. I mean, I'm not happy. I'm not encouraging ragging, but it helps toughen you up in some ways. But please don't take it as a positive thing for ragging. The other thing that, of course, is you get mercilessly treated by your seniors in medical college. And something I swore when I was a UG and PG student is I would never put my students through this, which means again that you remain calm, you encourage them, you pass on what little knowledge you get, you've got, and you gain knowledge from them because they are the ones actively reading. So I think, the other thing that Raja said about learning every day is something that, you do every day. You have to do it. And I think most important is you keep a passion for knowledge, a passion for learning. And for me, it's not only medicine. About 80% of my reading, I think now is non-medical and has always been non-medical. Just before we came on this, I was talking, a friend had asked, what is the book that influenced you most? And I was keying in a whole bunch of books that I think have influenced me in life. And I think only 2 of them or 3 of them are connected with medicine. So I think it's a whole lot of things that help one remain on an even keel. But most important is choose the right parents. They're you can't choose them; they choose you. But you luck out on life. You win the lottery of life if you've got good parents.
Yeah, I still remember. I had attended one of your session in last CCI where you had spoke about how to make presentation. The topic was very much common, but the way you presented. And till date, I haven't forgotten even a single slide of it. And whenever I make a presentation, it's only the first person whom I remember is Dr. Murali sir. Okay. The way he has taught us in life, simple, small things to be taken care of, really somewhere, gives us a lesson also to behave in our life also. The small things, the small steps with the passion, whatever you have, and honesty, whatever you have. Thanks a lot, sir, for teaching us this things in life. That's really great of you.
Thank you so much.
Next would be Dr. Vrushali, ma'am. I would come to you. When it comes to fitness and pulmonology, yes, always one person is remembered, Dr. Vrushali. I still remember the video of Dr. Vrushali where she was pregnant, and if I'm not wrong, 7 months, and still you were doing Zumba with a baby inside. Was something inspiring, and I think I had shown that video to many of my patients. After that, wherever I used to see a pregnant female, and this thing I used to inspire them with showing your video. Sorry for taking this without your permission, but yes, I did that. But yes, it really inspired others. So somewhere I want to know from you also, ma'am, what is the inspiration behind that, and how it keeps you rolling.
So like everyone said, from a low middle class family, and my father had got admission for medical MBBS, but unfortunately because of some capitation fee he couldn't do it. So I am here to fulfill his unfulfilled wish. And it was at the persistence of my mother. Though my father told me not to go into that field, though my parents are in paramedical stuff. So again, surgery was my choice. My mother persisted, and I didn't do surgery. So somewhere I have always been the kinds where I've been the happy-go-lucky kinds. Jo aata hai karte jao. I'm empathic by nature. I am boisterous by nature, two opposite things. And at the same time, I have been intrinsically blessed with some amount of intelligence, where it is that egg party stuff that I can read once and it kind of registers in my brain. So all of these things made me choose medicine. And when there is a song from a movie Love, ki haan yahi rasta hai mera, तूने आप पहचाना है, हाँ यही सपना है तेरा. ये मेरे सब सपने वगैरह पहचान मैंने DTCD के बाद हुई. उसके बाद मैंने जाके DNB medicine करा, and then I realized that what I have to do is only pulmonology in my life. So although I'm a trained medicine specialist, and then I have this I have to teach. Now all these things and the family somewhere made me realize. One of my doctor friends came, or my seniors came and said, "What are you doing for yourself?" यार मैं तो सब कुछ कर रही हूँ, नहीं अपने लिए क्या कर रही हो? अपने लिए क्या कर रही हो? Then I realized that I've been a dancer, I've been a singer, I've been all so पढ़ाई छोड़ के whatever can be done I was been doing. So then I decided, let's start my passion again. So first let's start by doing the gym. So before gym, I said, let's walk down. So whenever I used to walk down, my bacha used to get up my husband, Are yaar, ye ud gaya. I used to go to an area where there's no range. It's like gym join kiya, and I used to go to the gym at 5:30 in the morning. So wo jo banda kholta tha aur jo main andar ghusti thi, wo together. And one day when this uncle came and he told me, ye Zumba session hai, why don't you come? I said, what is Zumba? So Zumba for me was some African, I said, dhol wala dance kind of thing. She said, you come. I said, my time limit is 6:20, go home, prepare food for my kid who goes to school, and then I'm free. And once I went there, I got hooked. And within the next 3 classes, the lady said, madam, you're too good, why don't you come? Have you learned? I said, no, I've not learned. Wo dance bhi is intrinsic. Reason being, then there were no dance classes. 2, parents didn't want me to sway away from the medicine part of it, or she should be focused in what she is good at. So aise karke, and then eventually I took up my training, and then I realized that this 1 hour, which is 3 times a week, gives me a weird kind of happiness, a weird joy, and a weird relaxation, which actually I need. And I started performing better in terms of my professional things also, and I became a little less short-tempered. I'm quite short-tempered. And the other thing which I realized is that when you are happy, the person in front of you automatically is much more happy. You don't screw up someone's life in that. So this thing is something which came into me quite early on, and then fitness, and it helped me, really, because when I used to fall ill, I barely fall ill. If at all, I come off faster. All of this has, brought me a positive change in my life. So I continue doing that, and I continue motivating people to do that. In fact, let me share you that even during COVID times, I used to have free sessions for all the lady physicians who were practicing in Pune. So whoever would join, 1 hour we used to have, and then eventually a couple of my lymphoma patients, 1 cancer patient, I told them to join, and they were surprised that, you're charging. I said, no, I don't want to charge all. I keep on preaching, exercise karo, use your lungs better. I wanted to do that and, enjoying that with my class. So eventually, yeah, money, different, but for me, it is about happiness, and I want to do it for the hospital class. So that is where the fitness became a passion, come dance and everything, and, I am where what I am. And the other thing which it made me realize is that, one thing I've realized in medicine, like everyone has said, we'll get money. That's fine. But, you keep your muthi like this. Jo rehta, that is yours. Which goes away is not yours. And be happy. So basically, it comes down to be happy. You should dream. Dream big. Dream real. No, just dream. Whatever it is, it's your dream. And just follow it and just ensure that you fulfill it.
But when we keep, our fist this way, जो भी आता है वो यहाँ से चले जाता है, तो उसको रोकना कैसा है? बट उससे कुछ
no, whatever stays is yours. Why don't you realize that? Whatever is not, it's falling up, it's not yours, and you will get enough with whatever is in your hand.
So you mean to say you need to draw a line somewhere and be satisfied in life?
Yeah, yes. So people can call you are like alpa santushti.
True.
Yeah, but then look at me. I'm smiling all the time. And there used to be time people used to call me. I am known also by some super specialist doctors as Sachat Gharat or Pachat Gharat. Can you see this patient after this? No, sir, I don't see. Who will see? If it's an emergency, I will see. But otherwise, my children have only one mother. I'm going to be there for them. And I think that is what, forget the children, what about yourself? Love yourself, be there for yourself. Emergencies, obviously, no, do not deny. But otherwise, what is important is that, if you have a peace of mind here, you can sleep, like Raja Dhar was saying that, don't go behind the money and don't do investigations just for the heck of doing them. So that is my simple principle, that later on in life, say around 20 years later in life, if I'm sleeping, I should not like, I should have not done that. So that kind of life and that kind of sleep is what I envisage later, and that is how I'm behaving right now, so as to have that kind of a life later.
Okay, so you were this fitness freak from day one itself before pulmonology also, or did this habit you developed like after joining pulmonology, after coming to pulmonology, where you were stressed out and to relieve that stress, you joined Zumba?
No, I have been a walker. I don't sit in one place. And apparently, according to my mother, I started dancing as soon as I could walk. So that probably, helped me. So, what we realize is there is something called as midlife crisis, which is supposed to come somewhere after 45 to 53 years of age. But for our doctors, we have spent most of our time studying, that somewhere we lose on our passion.
True. So that's what
this
my
passion
question
came
was.
to me.
Did you really like brought this habit after joining medicine, or before that also you used to do it?
Am I on? Am I on now? I think I lost.
Yeah. You were paused. Yeah.
So I was saying this passion of mine which I lost, I got it back into my life, and the fitness thing carries on. So I mean, as I said, and I encourage everyone, even all the ones who are on the zero weeks activities. I encourage them that your zero weeks should entail some kind of walking, some amount of movement, because as everyone knows, there's no need for us to tell that fitness is important, physical well-being is important for a better functioning at whatever work you do, be it your profession, be it your interpersonal relationship, everything.
Great. So yes, we as doctors, pulmonologists are really stressed out. So I don't think we need to inculcate this habit of fitness in our life only after being stressed out. Rather, you need to think something for your own self also, and not inculcate this habit after being stressed out, but right from day one itself, make a habit of being stress-free, have some me time, and also do justice to your profession also. Is what probably I think Dr. Khadke has given us a message. And now I jump over to one of the person, there is a this thing where it has been told that jack of all trades, master of none. But if I just happen to talk to this female, she has proved it wrong, and she has proved it that original version, that is jack of all trades, was the right term and the right saying. And Dr. Amita Nene, I would just, when it comes to Amita Nene, you just ask her ILD, she has excelled in it. If you ask her about tuberculosis, she has excelled in it. If you ask her about COPD, she has excelled in it. She has her hands, one hand on bronchocon, one hand on, say, other conference, and the best of chest and ERS and what all and what not. Ma'am, how do you manage to generate so much of energy in you? Is there some solar power or solar system inbuilt in you? Please reveal this secret right now over here. I take an opportunity to, pin you over here and reveal this secret at least of yours.
Okay, so before I start giving important tips, the biggest tip is that you must have friends like Vikas. So whatever small things that I do, he really makes them into such a big thing, and he hypes them up so much that he really makes me sound like a rock star. So
no, it is not that. Like when it's our sleeping time, we see you awake. Like entire night you are awake. Entire night you keep on replying on each and every text, each and every queries. When do you sleep? How do you manage your profession, your personal life? Like we not only me. I'm sure this question is in each and every member of CCI over here. I'm very sure who knows Amita Nene.
Okay, so difficult question. Never really thought about this. So I'm just speaking from my heart. So first of all, I want to live every minute of my life. And, just because I'm a doctor, just because I'm a pulmonologist, just because I have emergencies, just like all of y'all listening to me I have decided that that's not going to be a deterrent in my life. And I'm going to love and continue doing everything that I'm going to do. And therefore, I really don't know. I wrote for the ICS journal once. So basically, I think I was supposed to be everything else but a doctor. Because at 4 years, I started singing. At 6 years, I started playing the sitar. When I was 3 years old, I started Manipuri. So basically, before I was 10 years old, I had finished my Visharad in sitar. I had finished my Visharad in singing. And I had finished my Visharad in Manipuri. After that, I started Bharatnatyam. And after that, I did my piano exams with, London College of Trinity. So actually, I really thought that I was one talented person who was supposed to really be on stage and really kind of look into the other aspect, everything else that was not studies. But the thing is that, you eventually decide to become a doctor, and then you decide that you will continue being an excellent doctor because as pulmonologists, we are supposed to serve. But at the same time, I decided that I'm not going to give up a single part about me that gives me happiness. So if I sing for myself. If I play the sitar, I play for myself. So the thing is that I personally feel that because I've kept my hobbies on, as a result of that, it gives me a lot of energy. And because I'm actually persuading what gives me internal happiness, I somehow feel that I have a lot of more energy. So I personally feel that we must pursue our interests in addition to pursuing our dreams. And I think that is really a killer combination. This combination would always work. And therefore, always please find a hobby. You need not be doing anything from the beginning. You can just pick up the guitar. You can just pick up any instrument. Just go on the net, learn some kind of dancing. And I think it'll be a stress buster. And it's going to make you perform much better. And it'll kind of not let you lose your steam. It'll not let you get irritated. It'll keep you completely charged up. So that is one thing that I want to tell you, that please continue living with your interests, pursue the dream, but also continue living your interests. That's number one. The second thing is that I personally, my parents have taught me 3 very important things, which I want to tell you all. I feel it somehow makes me become a better person, and it makes me handle people in a better way. So the first thing I was told, that it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And, ever since we were children, every time, like when I came first in my first standard, I came home, I said, guess what? I came first. And I was told, very good, very good. But it's nice to be important. It's more important to be nice. So every time I kept on achieving something, it was drilled into me. And I really, really believe, that we all are very intelligent people. We are better than most of our other people, other friends who studied with us in school, etc. But if we continue being nice, then somehow all our importance will always follow. That's something me and both my brothers have always been doing, and it's been working for us. The second thing my parents always taught me was that we have to give respect to get respect. So the thing is that if I want somebody to respect me, I give much more respect to them, whether they are my students, whether they are my colleagues, they're my juniors, or they're my teachers, or people who also stop practicing chess. So the thing is, you just told me that in the middle of the night, I write people's names and I write to them, because I personally feel that if somebody is bothered to comment or praise one of my achievements, then least I can do is address the person and then thank the person. So I kind of feel that it's really very important to respect the other person. Only then will you get the respect. That's the second thing I follow, which I think has been working for me. And the third thing that I follow is that we've always been taught that if you want to move ahead with people. Don't ever try to move ahead alone. So the day we decide to move ahead and we feel that I want to do well, I want to do better than the others, that is the time we are actually making the mistake. Please hold hands of all your friends who supported you, all those who rely on you. I think just kind of hold hands, walk ahead together, and then life really becomes a beautiful journey. And then destination is not important. It's the journey that is important. So tomorrow what I achieve or not is not important. But while trying to achieve my goal, have I enjoyed my life? That according to me is very, very important. So I do these 3 things. They work for me. And I think probably you all can also consider putting it in, because I always sleep with a smile on my face. Everybody tells me, what dream are you watching? Your sleep. In your sleep, you're smiling. But I actually smile with a sleep on my face, because every day I sleep feeling happy, because I think I have done good not only to patients but even to my colleagues, and it's a great, great feeling.
Super. So yes, this energy somewhere, we always were surprised from where do you get this kind of energy? Like, when do you sleep, ma'am?
I sleep very.
When do you sleep? Like, what's the timing of your sleep? I want to know this.
The funniest thing is, I'm like a trained sleep disorder specialist. That means I was in Cleveland Clinic Foundation Neurology Department doing sleep, because in Cleveland Clinic, sleep doesn't come under pulmonary. So it's really funny. As a trained sleep specialist, I really have a very bad sleep hygiene. I mean, I'm going to talk about it, but I suggest nobody please try to follow it. So
even if you think of following it, is next to impossible. None other than you can do it.
No, I think it's okay. I feel if you're high on life, if you're happy doing what you're doing, then sleep is not really required. And then we have weekends to catch up on sleep. So it's okay. I think I'm managing well. I think I'm looking not too old. I think I'm not coming across like an angry person. So I think I'm managing well.
Wow. Yeah, a real Mumbaikar, I would say. That we just tick tock on every second, and in 1 second you just run in a speed of a light, I would say. That's great, seriously.
I would just like to say, because I don't know if I'll get a turn, because it was all about motivation, etc. I kind of just spoke more about happiness, because I kind of feel that eventually it's happiness which actually motivates us to do better. I just want to say one thing, I basically feel that it's very important to dream. We have to really dream big. I mean, dream much more than you will ever think of ever achieving, because I feel if you dream for the stars, then at least you will end up on the moon. And therefore, it's very important. Always for you, wish the best. I mean, something unachievable, something unthinkable, please dream. Because when you really dream with all your heart, the nature actually conspires to make it true for you. And I've seen that happen with me every single time. And I think prayers have a lot of power. I don't know if people believe in God or not, but I really believe in God. And whenever I want something, I pray. And I really pray. And I pray even more. And I honestly feel that our prayers get listened to. And therefore, I think that is also something that we must do.
Yes. So, yes, it's very true. The law of attraction works. You get whatever you think. And if you believe in a positive thing, the positive comes to you. But if you start believing negative or start thinking about negative will follow you. However positive you are, still, if you somewhere think negative, start to work with a negative attitude, negative intentions, things are going to happen negative. That is for sure. This next question would be for Dr. Murali sir. Yes, Dr. Vrushali ma'am.
So from this negative things, I'm muted. No, from this negative things, I have been through a lot in the COVID times, and I've come across this book called by young Pablo. It's his pen name basically, and this guy writes really motivational stuff. So if anyone is interested in knowing that, I think you should go it. So you have this tendency to go back, visit those negative aspects in life, and reading his is absolutely okay to go back. But you come back to the future again, so you don't feel guilty. Why am I still in that kind of a thing? So if anyone wants clarity and connection, a beautiful book by young Pablo. I mean, it's something which will pep you up every single day.
We'll keep that in mind. Dr. Murali sir, this one for you. How do you overcome setbacks in profession and succeed again and again? Your mic is mute. Unmute yourself, sir.
A lot of it boils down to your personality, honestly. I think, we were talking about, I'm going to come back to what you asked me now, but I think a lot of it that we do, what motivates us, comes from 2 or 3 things. What are you passionate about? And it's, what Dr. Amita was talking about is the passion comes first. You don't develop a passion artificially for something, because it's never truly a passion. A passion is something that's inbuilt. Okay. So Dr. Vrushali wants to, she's physical in her expression of emotion, in her joy, and she does physical things. Others are interested in something else, and you really have to be somewhat good at it. You can't be absolutely hopeless and still pursue that unless you're, really self-defeating. So you start with something that you're reasonably good, and then you hone that, you try and make it better and better. And there's no stop to this, because, you're always trying to get better at what you do. For the sheer joy of doing it better each time. You're not competing with anybody. You're not even competing with yourself. You're competing with a certain standard which you've reached earlier, and you want to go better than that. The second very important thing for me, and, that is why I'm not too bothered about setbacks in my profession, is, I hesitate to say this because it sounds boastful, but I'm honestly incapable of jealousy. I'm not jealous of anybody. I just take pleasure in what others are achieving, whether they are my colleagues, whether they're my seniors. And, I know I'm reasonably good at what I do, and I don't need to compete with anybody. I see somebody else doing well, maybe a student of mine, and I'm just very happy that they're being recognized for what they are. I remember, I recognized this early. I was a associate professor or something in a medical college. And I used to have a large number of patients in front of me. And once I managed to finish my OPD early, and there was a patient waiting outside, and I said, come in. And he said, no, I'm waiting to see somebody else. That is my postgraduate. And it gave me a thrill that, this postgraduate of mine was so impressive that the patient wanted to see him rather than me. So you get pleasure out of it, and, you take pride in the fact that, you're training your students so well that they're doing so well. So it's partly a win for them, but also partly a win for you when you see them doing very well. So I think I've approached setbacks in the profession that way. It's going to come. There's something that goes wrong. There's something else waiting at, if one door closes, as they say, another opens. There's something else that Dr. Amita said that struck me. She said something about, wanting to do better and dreaming really big. And don't worry if you never reach there. I always remember this line from a Robert Browning poem, Andrea del Sarto, which says, oh, that a man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for? You must always reach for much more than you can get. And then only you'll be happy. And when you've reached, you've got somewhere half there, you reach even further. You reach for the stars, she said, and, at least you'll reach the moon. But having reached the moon, you want to go further. You want to go to Mars, and you having reached Mars, you put out the Hubble and then the James Webb telescope to look further and further. And that really gives you joy in what you do. And as I said, finally, it is, what is your passion? What are you good at? Obviously, it's something the world should have, and there's this Japanese concept of ikigai, where, there's an overlap between what you're good at, your passion, what the world needs. So that is your mission, where you get paid, and that's your profession and your vocation. So all these things where the overlap gives you this ultimate, goal in your life, the ikigai in your life. And I think that's a brilliant concept. The Japanese have a lot of absolutely brilliant concepts. And this is, I think, one of the finest that they have.
Yes. Super. Sir, Agam, sir, are you there over here right now?
Yes.
This question actually is is for Dr. Amita Nene, madam, but still purposefully I am asking this question to you because I am very sure the answer which you're going to give is going to be out of the box. And I want to know that out of the box thinking of yours. Is it true that growth in career and profession has a gender bias? How a lady pulmonologist overcome this?
Come again. I probably missed your question. There is a gender bias about?
True that
you're talking about my bias for gender. Yes, I'm very much fond of the.
And how a lady pulmonologist overcome this?
Oh, there is a definite bias, and ladies don't have to do it. It's we who have to do it. Yeah, they are always at advantage, aren't they? and I slightly beg to differ to what Dr. Murali Mohan said. It is very easy for him to say that he's not jealous of anybody because he's sitting at the pinnacle. Ye top pe jealousy ka sawal hi nahi aata hai. It's people like me who would be jealous of you, and there is no reason for you to be jealous of anybody else. So I mean, things is very easy for you, yaar. Things are very difficult for us. I have a question for you, Vikas.
Yes,
you were there for Raja's talk, right?
Yes,
Raja Dhar spoke about making smile on your colleague's face, making smile on your staff, and etc. etc. I was once in a very, very tricky situation. There was a very beautiful nurse there where I work, and I was trying to bring smile on her face, and suddenly visual dropped in. How do you tackle such tricky situation? When you're trying to bring smile on somebody's face and somebody else comes up in that unwanted situation. How have you handled this situation in past? I just wanted to learn from you, Vikas.
Sir, to be very frank, in my life and my daily career, I just look upon you all and follow your steps, whatever you do.
That's not the way. You can't not answer. I'm really wanting to learn that from you. With your vast experience of bringing smile on so many faces that I'm aware of, at least enlighten us.
This is a motivation of different kind.
So suddenly,
motivation is motivation. I was never told about a specific motivation.
Suddenly, I would just answer my wife. Maybe we are just ahead with the laugh therapies over here. I have started my laugh therapies from today onwards, along with my yoga. And this is what I'm teaching to my sister and staff over here, who is going to teach to my patients in the nursing home. I will just cover up this way. But yes, this trick also I have learned from you only, sir. So I'm just following your footsteps. We have our Dr. Krishna sir over here. This question is this entire topic is a brainchild of Dr. N.S. Krishna, and would say like rather than talking to our panelists over here, I think even if this would have been only one-on-one with Krishna and myself also would have been more than enough, because Dr. Krishna is one who has achieved everything over here, I suppose. Yeah. So I want it would be really unfair if we end this session without listening to you, Dr. N.H. Krishna.
Well, it's not me, it's him.
Ah,
So I always tell
you are being
everyone,
too modesty. Yeah, that's your modesty, sir.
thank you. I always feel, no, it's a truth rather. He flows in me, I'm a medium. Because I cannot imagine a tiny man from a tiny place like me being with a panel today, like you all are here. Just look at the names from all over India, taking from Raja Bhai, Agam Bhai, Murali sir, Amita friend, and
Sorry,
Vrushali, my
Betty. Betty.
बहन अभी मेरी बेटी 12th पास की है, तो कोई बात नहीं, तुम बहन ही होगी फिलहाल. विकास भाई, so see, this is something you cannot think of, but I dreamt of this. Like I had, and I tell you, whenever you consider that you can do something, you will do it. For example, can you just understand? We are not dealing with the entire human body. It's only pulmonology. So pulmonology, we have 2 lungs. Maximum you can add a nose to it and respiratory tract. Then how it was possible for me to bring so many different topics which were never repeated at all. This itself is something like we have been doing this from the last 2.5 years, and I remember not even a single topic got repeated till date. It was like, I don't know like how this flows in me and how this happens in me. Actually, I should thank my parents. It's a frank thing that I was made to read Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavata when I attained the age of 2.5 years. I'm not talking about the comic books. I read the granthas. So before I could join first standard, I had finished reading all these 4 granthas, all such big books. Then when I entered first standard, I had nothing to do actually, because I had learned so much. Then I diverted myself, other than the education which I have to learn, to other extracurricular activities, cultural activities and everything. Then it happened just like one day I thought that WhatsApp is a tool. Those days, not even the family WhatsApp groups were running. WhatsApp was just the limitation having 50 only then, those days. Then initially started with 50, and I'm very happy to tell that in the first initial 50 in the WhatsApp group, Murali Mohan sir was there when I started that 50. Now there are 3,500 people. So this is something like only His grace. It's happening like this. And I would want to tell to everyone here that you cannot become a star if you focus on your own. I had a huge pressure to become a panelist of this webinar and also any other webinar also, because I am the one to design the topic. So I'm very sure that I can handle it better. But in spite of that, I recently denied appearing because my photo, my name, if it comes there, my deviation will go. How should I project myself there in the webinar, but not to look at the overall success of the webinar, overall involvement in the webinar. So a director is better sitting outside. He shouldn't become a director come actor. That's it.
Very true. So, being the best director is also very important, sir. If the grade goes for success of any movie, the first is the director over there, than the actor. That is very important. Let the actor be whosoever. If the direction is really worst, somewhere the movie definitely has to be flopped. Even best of the actors have given a flop-most movie right now. And we all know how successful this movie of CCI has been till date, right from the trailer till the movie which is going on still. Yes, sir.
So, Alfred Hitchcock, one of the most famous directors, would always make a cameo appearance in his movie. In one movie, which is shot on a lifeboat, it's called Lifeboat, you see him in an advertisement in a newspaper which is floating on the sea. Okay, and there is Alfred Hitchcock. So Dr. Krishna is like that. At least you must make a token appearance in every seminar.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I will try.
Right. One last question to each and everyone over here. What was that which made you all think of risking your life? Or wasn't there any fear in your mind when it came to pulmonology and COVID? Where we, each one of you all have served a nation right now who have served patients without fear, without getting a fear, without that fear in your mind of getting contacted with the deadliest virus, and also not only ourselves, but also to transforming this disease to or taking this written gift at home and giving to our families. Still, what was that? What made you all to still work in COVID? This question I really want to know from each one of you all, ma'am or sir.
Can I start?
Yes, please. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. So, while I've had a very supportive family and I kind of contribute all my whatever little success I've received to my family because they've always wholeheartedly supported me. So just when COVID was about to enter India and we had cases, coming up in Kerala. So that was the first time both the sides of my family decided that Amita is not going to work in COVID. Basically, they felt that I work too hard in life, I sleep too little, and they thought that I made my life very difficult for myself. So first time they decided that Amita will not work in COVID. And I'm actually I always listen to my parents and my in-laws and everybody in the family. So I actually said, okay, fine. If you all think I shouldn't work, then I will not work. And then basically the preparation started, the COVID ICU was getting decided. And of course, we were doing rounds, we were putting suggestions. Management was told, I'm not going to work, but I'm just giving all my inputs because I need to tell what needs to be done as the head of the department, etc. And the thing is, the ICU was ready and we were going to start 4 days later. And you won't believe it. Last 3 days before the ICU started, Crofton and Fishman would come in my dreams. The textbook, I don't know what they look like in real life, but the front page of Crofton and front page of Fishman would keep on coming in my eyes and keep on saying that this is not okay, you're ditching us, you can't do this. And I would just break into a sweat and wake up saying what's going on. I mean, I've never had this before my exam, before my vivas. I just smiled into the exam hall without getting any stress in life. I've never had sleepless nights because I sleep so little. So the thing is that I could not just sleep for 3 nights, and it was like my textbooks were saying that, listen, you need to go there, you can't ditch us. And on the 3rd day, I said, I'm going. So the elders were not told, only my husband knew that I'm starting COVID. So both the parents and all the sides of brothers and hubbies and nobody was told, and I started COVID. So I basically feel it was a pulmonologist inside me which woke up, which said that when you need to get up and perform, you cannot just sit down, may it be. So a person like me who's always listened to my parents, I've not said no to anything that they've told me till date. Whatever they say, even if I don't do it, the answer is okay. But the thing is that it was honestly the pulmonologist inside me woke up, and that was the first time when I seriously thought that I was born to be a pulmonologist, honestly. And when I look back, I really feel, if you're supposed to ask me, what are you proud about yourself in life the most about? I want to say me going into COVID. Even after I got my first COVID was really bad. I really thought I was going to die. But 14 days over, 15 day, I was back into the ICU.
Super. So, awesome. I'm very sure this feeling, proud feeling, each and every pulmonologist over here does have it there in their mind at least. Even if, yes, ma'am. Vrushali, ma'am.
Continue. You finish yours. And then
no, go ahead. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, so let me tell you what, basically I never thought about anything. Dr. Abhyankar just called me up, Vrushali, we need to do a bit. I said, of course. It never crossed my mind that it's going to be bad. I had a 1-year-old daughter at that point in time. And then I suddenly realized that when my first child was born, by the way, I need to tell you, I was pregnant when I gave my exams in Kolkata at 37 weeks with my first kid. And that time it was swine flu. I was swine flu in charge as well, which I took for over 2 years. And what I used to do is diligently take the necessary precautions. Not one time it crossed my mind that what am I going to do for myself or my family. Possibly this is how we doctors are trained, like, see, we as TB specialists, we are not bothered in the sense that we're not worried that we get infected. We are like, okay, we're going to take the right care and we're going to do it. And that is how I started COVID. Obviously, I had my mother who looked after my child for the initial time. We continued, I can tell you, in the initial phase, which phase of the hospital to be used at COVID, getting bottled water for the patients, feeding patients at points in time. We had elderly people and there were no relatives allowed, and the isolation time was 14 days and so on and so. So literally all of us chipped in everything. And at that point in time, I worked as a JR. I worked as a ward MO. I worked as a consultant deciding this. I worked as a Maushi, Mama. I worked as a management deciding which place to be done where. But it just came. It just came with the flow. Eventually, in the 4th month, I lost my younger Mama. That's my mother's younger brother. And it kind of gave me a setback. But somehow, the kind of mess which was going around, it was, there was no time for me to sit back and decide, why my family member and this. Eventually, in the second wave, before the second wave, I decided to resign from the COVID officership which I was, but I said I'll be doing everything. I lost my mother in the second wave of COVID. Very difficult, but I can see that, there were so many young people dying that possibly I said it was destiny. And then 3rd day, I was back in the ICU, seeing all the patients, and possibly it helped me get away from the fact that I lost her. And I think that's how we doctors are made. We put others before ourselves, and I think it helps us deal with life. And the other thing, again, we are blessed with is we always equate our suffering to what we see outside. And we realize that what we are suffering is nothing compared to what others are suffering. We always we are trained to see the good part of life, and I think we are blessed in that way. Our fraternity is based that we always try to see the positive aspect of whatever is happening around us, and that is how COVID or no COVID, whatever comes our way, I think we'll be ready to deal with it at any point in time.
Right, I do agree. It reminds me of one of my uncle who was on ventilator at Pune, and my family were like, Vikas, please visit him once. Let's say whatever it is, and I was just unable to say them no. And all the way from Mumbai to Pune, I was doing video consultations from Mumbai to Pune, traveling 4 hours, gave a visit only of 5 minutes to 10 minutes maximum, just to see that everything is in place, yes, no, and then I just went back to Mumbai all the way, and 4 hours journey with all video consultations to all the patients, yes. But at the end, when we just when we are able to give a smile on a patient's face, it even be one single patient who is having a smile, and it makes a difference. Our presence making difference in their life is the satisfaction which I am very sure each and every pulmonologist did have got in their in their life. Definitely, yes, sir. Sir Murali, sir, how
is age
mute?
Especially,
I said I want you to go to Dr. Agam first, and I'll come last of all, and I'll tell you why later.
Yes, Agam, sir, please.
Why should you have last word always?
Because he's at the pinnacle.
Agam, you didn't tell us today that there is a scary background.
Yeah, I'm driving. There is a meeting, so I have to go there.
Behind Murali sir, there's a scary background.
Murali sir, scary background is yours. Never ask. I get amazed.
Don't ask me how many of those books I have read, but
It's
no,
like
things were when I'm talking about myself, things were really easy because luckily during swine flu time, there was nobody willing to start that OPD, and I was that time so-called in charge of Cooper Hospital, so-called head of department, with trunk also me and tail also me. There was nobody. I was the only one handling the department, and I volunteered to start swine flu OPD there. And since then, probably as you rightly said, we all are used to airborne diseases, droplet-borne diseases. We are used to tuberculosis, and we know that if you take proper care, you can safely manage these diseases. I also had initial reluctance, and unluckily that time I was not working for any institute, and there was
there was no guideline. There were no guidelines. In fact, there were restrictions to admit patients in private hospital. But there was so much of pressure, so many patients were suffering, and I had no choice but to start admitting them in private hospital. And I thank all those institutes who allowed me to admit patients. Yeah, it was difficult early. We did not know how to go about it. But then suddenly I realized that if we don't work, this is a chest physician's domain, and if chest physicians don't work, probably rest of the specialty would really find it difficult to manage these patients. And suddenly came a feeling that yes, you can be inspiration, you can be icon. A lot of people depend on you, and a lot of people get inspired by your work. And if you don't work, how can ward boys, how can Moshis, how can RMOs, how can junior doctors work? And I started working, and then came a beautiful thing. What I did, Vikas, there is a very good palmist in my area. So I went to him with my kundali. I said, "Marne marne ka yog hai kya?" He said, "Nahi re baba, tu bahut jeene wala." I said, "Fir jaane do re, chodo, maro goli. Might as well work." And that's how I started working. Very happy that I could work in the COVID, and it's only, I played a very small role. It's the entire, as I probably said earlier, if you really wish to do something, all things fall in favor. I'm thankful to that my society allowed me to work. There were so many restrictions. People were not allowing anybody to move out of the society, and I was allowed to go out of the society 3 times a day or 2 times a day, wherever possible. All my building where I have my consulting room, it's a commercial building. All offices were closed. Only my clinic was open, and there are so many things, so many people who probably supported me, and I could work. So credit goes to all those who were with me during this tough time. Thanks.
Okay, the reason I wanted to go last is I was kept out of the COVID wards, and that was the most disappointing thing for me, the bitterest things for me. My colleagues said, "Sir, you are not coming into the COVID wards." There was a calculation, what is mortality chances given age and previous cardiac problems and so on. And they said you have a 20% chance of dying if you get COVID. So you are not coming to the ward. You worked hard enough on TB. You worked hard enough during the H1N1 pandemic. So you are not stepping in. 2, we need somebody to write the protocols, because, we didn't have proper protocols at that time. And they said, you're the best person to write the protocol. So sadly, I was kept out of the COVID wards. And then when the post-COVID started coming in, I was put in charge of that in the ICU, because, they said this is more difficult to manage. You have written the protocol and you can follow a standard protocol. This is where there are a million other problems. So you have to look after this. So yes, a sense of great disappointment. In fact, I wrote a very bitter poem about my, my lack of ability to do something at that time. And if we have a little time at the end, I'll read it out to you all. But so I was disappointed. But in retrospect, I think, while I didn't work in the COVID ward itself, I did contribute in various other ways, looked after a lot of patients online, advised a lot of people, wrote the protocol. I think we wrote 7 iterations of the protocol, improving it every time. And I think that was valuable. I persuaded all our people to, even the, people who were very skeptical about vaccination. I gave several talks to them and to people outside on, the importance of vaccination. So yes, I contributed, but I didn't put my life on the line. And that is a bit, you always, as a doctor, you feel, this is my duty. I have to put my life on the line, and I did not put my life on the line. So that is a source of disappointment for me. And, so that's why I wanted Vikas and all the other heroes to go first, and this non-hero to come right at the end.
Sir, I would say, but, being on the backstage is, people do more heroic things than actually performing on the front stage, to be very frank. That's really important, sir.
Nice of you to say that, but
I completely agree. Basically the thing is that honestly, we were inside so much, we really didn't have time to read. So actually, at least I absolutely followed protocols that were written by Dr. Murali, and it helped me immensely. Seriously, so thank you.
True. Krishna, sir.
I'm a freelancer since last 22 years. So you can call me, it's like Abhimanyu. So I had to take my own decision, and I had to run my setup, and I had to do everything, taking an entire risk on me, including risking my family, everything. But not even a single wave I stopped working. Even now also, as you all are aware, along with CCI, I manage my setup also. So basically, I was never infected at all, even once. Maybe, I don't know, probably asymptomatic it could be, or I didn't understand that I should go for a test. But I was never symptomatic for all the waves. Thank God, that's it. Never symptomatic, not even once I was positive. Not even one in my house, at least. My
That's good.
parents,
That's good.
that's
We really
touch wood.
pray. We really pray and let God always bless you in a similar way. Where we were the ones who had utilized all our grace marks and then passed. Let it be all the waves. We have scored top in all the waves. At least myself, I have been positive in all the waves in the first go itself.
Me too. I've had a positive test 3 times, and then so many times I didn't test.
Same
So,
here. So
full
first,
marks
I always
everywhere.
thought, my wife used to tell me, first, do you research on your own self and then you treat others? Is it so? That what medicines have occurred and which medicines are going to act and not act and what is supposed to prescribe?
Because even I have not been infected in a single wave. My mother and parents actually got infected when they went away and stayed at their own house. And I was kicking myself for allowing her to go back,
Let God bless us all with all the powerful and the positive energies what we have. And,
There's some question in this
yes,
Yes. I wanted to highlight that. There's a
yes.
question.
Is
Also,
it
I would
so
like to
that
inform
Godfather in the
903
profession
logins.
is needed for
903 logins.
success in career or only knowledge matters? Is that the same? Right?
There were multiple questions.
There are two questions. I think both are very interesting questions by Dr. Anupama from Tamil Nadu. I think both should be taken, very, very interesting questions.
We have covered all other
Janardhan,
than
first
only one.
respect them.
That is it so that Godfathers in the professions needed for success in career or only knowledge is what matters? Munli sir, please.
I don't think I've ever had any godfathers really. The only godfather perhaps I may have utilized is, this Raja said how much he enjoyed working in the UK, suffered no discrimination, had the greatest friends there. And that was my experience also. I loved the 3 years I spent in the UK and had a great time. I came back to India. Nobody wanted to give me a job. And I was feeling very, upset at that time. I rang up my consultant there and he said, come back anytime. We are interviewing tomorrow. I said, I'm in India. I can't come back tomorrow. He said, don't worry, the job is yours. I don't need to interview you. I know you. If there's one godfather, it would have been him, but I didn't utilize it. I didn't go back because he also said, I think, you need to stay with family. Either you all come across or you stay there. And I personally don't believe, especially in the current atmosphere, a godfather is necessary at all. At the same time, I believe all of us who are in senior positions, older positions, should be a godfather to everybody around you with absolutely no discrimination. You're a godfather to them because they are your godchildren, as it were, and you want to encourage each of them. And this is something that I wanted to point out. I think Amita mentioned it briefly, but everybody has a talent. Agam also said everybody is unique. In fact, this is my display message on my WhatsApp. Remember that you are unique, just like everyone else. Every one of us is unique. Every one of us is special. As a teacher for so many years, I found that each of my students has something very special about them. They may not show it in class, they may not show it in clinics, but there is something special. And you try and encourage them to develop the speciality. And that way you play a godfather equally to everybody. So I don't think you need a godfather to survive, but you can play the role of a godfather to multiple people and help all of them do really well. And it is your knowledge and ability and your, there are 3 characteristics. I'm sorry, Amita, just,
Go ahead. Yes,
there are 3 characteristics that they say is essential for a doctor. One is availability. There's no point in being the best doctor if you're not available. The second is affability. You need to be friendly, amiable. You need to, be approachable. And only the third is ability. Okay, so you have to have the other 2 in order to be a good doctor. And, And to me, that's really the, sums it up, what makes a good doctor.
Amita, ma'am?
Yeah, I completely agree. In fact, Dr. Murali has given us really words of wisdom. So I would just want to echo on similar grounds. This is mainly for youngsters. So basically the thing is that I had no godfather whatsoever. In fact, I had no doctor in the family. I'm from a business family and nobody understood even M of medicine. So there was nobody who could even advise me. And the thing is, I did my MD, then I was at Cleveland, and after I came back, I worked in Hinduja. And that's where I was really working hard. And I wrote my first paper, which was not my first paper, but my first paper for the Blue Journal, AGRCCM, where I wrote about the epidemiology of sleep apnea in Indians. And that was the first research of India. And the paper got published, and I got invited by Bombay Hospital to join as a consultant. And I basically joined Bombay Hospital. I had to move my practice from suburbs to South Bombay. I didn't know anybody over there. There was no question of having any godfather because I didn't even know anybody in the hospital. But the thing is that I decided that I want to do well in life. And at the same time, I decided I don't want to do well by doing some wrong stuff. I want to work hard. And so the thing is, without having any godfather, without having to know anybody in the hospital also, I have really worked hard. I would be in the hospital from 8 in the morning every day. And I would be around till 10:30, 11 every single day. In Bombay Hospital, we have 300 beds which are totally free. That means like how a BMC hospital will have. The patients pay nothing for the beds, doctors get no charges, nothing. And I would really see my free patients also so well. Like though I would not get a single rupee, I would spend so much time on them. I would see the staff who are obviously free so well. So what I want to basically say is that whether the person who I was seeing was rich or poor, whether he could pay or not pay, I have given absolutely my best. I have really worked hard. I've never said a no to anybody. And I basically feel it's a word of mouth. When you're sincere, when you mean good, and when you put in your best, the other person just comes to know. So I want to basically really say that when you're starting out, please don't look for a godfather. Even if you have one, disown him. Because the thing is that the best is to make everybody know that you are here for yourself, to make sure you work hard, and you want to work for the patient. And as Dr. Murali rightly said, you have to be available, you have to be really understanding, and you have to be good-hearted to understand. And then the success is really there for you. So there is absolutely no shortcoming. You have to work hard. Please work hard. Please be good to people. And please don't ever do anything wrong. Just because a patient is affordable, don't charge him more. Because the word always goes out that, you are not being really a good person. Your reputation is very, very important. So work for your reputation because a short-term gain is no long-term gain at all. You don't need a godfather again. Please work hard. And there is nothing better. They say, right? Genius is 99% perspiration and only 1% inspiration. So godfather, I don't even give 1% to that. Work hard, be honest, be good. And even sky is not the limit for you.
Even I would like to add over here the same thing. I still remember a day when my family were at Coimbatore and they were ready to purchase a seat in donation, the surgery. I was a person who was a surgical, my interest was more towards surgery. But then they were already over there with cash and everything, money and everything, ready to book the seat just because I did not crack my CET to those days there was CET. So crack my entrance to the best, good rank. But then whatever rank I managed to, I was getting a DTCD seat, that is diploma in TB and chest. It's a diploma seat. So, but then when I just thought myself that why to spend money, hard-earned money, because I've seen my father who have earned and who has put his entire life earning that money, and that money was really precious for me. And that was the day when I just told, forget father, I don't want to go ahead with surgery anymore. I will go ahead with tuberculosis, that is DTCD. And that's how, I just denied the seat of general surgery at Coimbatore and took a seat in whatever rank I managed to have with my own rank at Pune. And I still remember the day when I entered DTCD. And trust me, being in Mumbai and only DTCD, not even MD after that, but still I think I am doing pretty well without anything. The only thing is you need to have a different approach in life is what I believe. Maybe everyone thinks and everyone would say would see that half glass is empty over there, but I think I would say that half glass is still full. Then why and what's the reason behind it? Just try and have a different approach in life than others, and your dedication and passion, whatever is, is going to give you a result. I do believe in that way.
Can I just add one thing that,
Yes.
We must differentiate between godfathers and mentors. So we all want mentors and we learn from our mentors. We're influenced by mentors. They are not godfathers.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said.
Mentors in life, we do need mentors in life. We do need blessings of gurus. Gurus are everything who may shape your entire life. Like, you have to follow them. Let it be whatever. If it is coming from guru's mouth, you have to take it. You have to take a step back, rethink, and then act. It is going to take you to a long way ahead. That is what even I do believe, sir.
And also, I feel that not only do we have to respect our gurus and listen to them, but we have to acknowledge them all the time. Whenever we get a chance, we have to acknowledge them and we have to give our whatever success is attributed to them and their knowledge. But because I think that we need blessings of our gurus, our mentors, even today, always.
True.
There's one other very nice question by Dr.
Question, yeah. One more
Why don't you take it about you asked Dr. Agam and the question went away. So if you just want to ask again.
Yeah, this question is specifically for Murali sir. How to keep yourself calm when you know you have blundered, or one of your team members has done a blunder?
So two things about it. I think one is, when you blunder, it's not it's not something to be proud of. But you say, I have to learn from this. Everybody blunders. I mean, Agam said this very well. He says, we make mistakes. Dravid, talks about how he scored more than 15, less than 25% of the innings he played. So he's failed 75% of the time. So those are the kind of things that build you up and you learn from them. If you just have continuous successes, you don't learn. So when you blunder, you say, I didn't do this deliberately. This is not, something that I am proud of, but at the same time, I shouldn't blame myself, but I will learn from it and make sure it never happens again. So that is your blunders. When your teammate makes a blunder, there are two aspects to it. One is you must acknowledge honestly that a blunder was made, whether you made it or somebody else made it. You cannot cover it up and you try and compensate for it. The second thing is you sit down with your colleague, if he's a junior or, somebody you can talk to, and say, look, this is what has happened. And I think we should make sure that this doesn't happen again. But yet we try and protect them, because a blunder shouldn't affect a person's career entirely. Putting a blame on a person, putting them down is not the way to go, because we are here to learn from our mistakes and build people up, rather than claw them down. We talk about Indian crabs. This is a universal phenomenon. It's not just Indian crabs. And this is one of the things I find in India. By and large, Indians are supportive of each other. We are not Indian crabs. Our competitiveness is less. We don't compete with each other as much as, for example, the Americans do. I think the Americans are far, far more competitive and at each other's throats very often. It's coming to Britain. It wasn't there in the past. I think the NHS is not the same as it was when I was there. But from what I hear, there's a lot of infighting and competition. India is still mercifully free of a large part of that. It may happen outside, but not within an institution. At least that's been my experience. Maybe they're all just very kind towards me because they see my gray hair. I don't know what it is. But I think you have to sit down with a colleague. You have to support them through this. Make sure that they're not pulled down by it. But also learn from each other what mistakes have been made, so you have the good fortune not to make the mistake the next time. So that's how I handle blunders. But you have to remain honest through the whole procedure and not cover it up.
I completely agree. Very, very well said by Dr. Murali. I just want to add one thing, that if a colleague or a junior or a team member makes a mistake, please, if you want to point out the mistake, please take him to the room and address this situation alone, one-to-one. Please never ever ridicule somebody in front of people. Very often we want the patient to feel very good about us, and therefore we will pull down our junior in front of the patient just so that the patient feels very good about us. Please never ever do this. We've always been taught ever since we were children, if you want to find a fault, go alone and talk. But if you want to praise, praise in front of the whole world. You want to praise with huge kind of encouragement. And, we basically want good things to move on in life. So when we clap, cheer, appreciate goodness in huge voices in front of everybody, it's going to encourage the good person to continue with the goodness. But, we do something exactly the opposite. We want to find a fault. We want to say in front of everybody. And we want to praise somebody, we'll take them to a corner and say, okay, well done. So please, I feel that if we want to move in a team, we want to move ahead together, please point out a mistake, you must, because we want to teach them. And at the same time, we are dealing with human lives. We want to make sure such a thing doesn't happen again. So please tell them that I understand from where you made this thing. Maybe you thought this way, but actually it should have been like this. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And therefore next time, please don't do this, because it's not really the done thing. It's going to affect the patient. However, if he had done something good, call your entire team, call the nurses, call the patient and the relatives, and then praise them. You will make sure they really work there.
Ma'am, I was going to say the same. I've been taught by my teacher, Dr. Mahesh Chopre, that never ever, and that is what we follow. Another thing which Dr. Murali Mohan told us very well is that, you encourage your students, and basically one is that they become better than you. I want a good person to treat me if I ever fall ill, but you have to give forward the legacy. And that's very important that, I was ragged. I do the same with that. That is something which I have never followed in my life. I did maybe 3 duties a week extra without getting paid. So my junior should be doing the same, or it should continue. No, we have always got into them that concept that no, they will be working only for this much hours. So that's a very well pointed out point that, we should not chide them in front of anybody, be the staff, be it anybody, even the sisters. I take them out separately that, we were supposed to give this much, this is not to be done. Ask if there's a problem. If the resident is not answering, you call me, there's no problem about it. The other thing which I wanted to say about the mentors. So there's something called as intrinsic motivation, which is what we build for ourselves, and mentors and our colleagues and our students and everyone who's around us. So be it the mama, maushi, the sisters, the patient's relatives' behavior, all these things help us, motivate and then make us go forwards. There was another question which Vikas regarding the lady pulmonologists. So, ma'am, you want to say something about it, and I'll speak a few bits about it.
Go ahead.
Vrushali, because I already spoke what you wanted
one minute.
First.
Answering the previous question, the one who does a blunder in your colleagues, take him for a booze. And sit and talk with him and tell him that every time you commit a blunder, this will not be repeated. The booze will not be repeated. Next time when you don't do a blunder, you get the booze.
I will take him for a walk up one of the hills.
One
No.
thing I want to say that
the choices and the preferences are different.
Yeah.
Because men will always be men.
Yes, absolutely. But one more thing I want to say about the same point. Basically, when we feel that somebody's created a blunder, first of all, please ask them for an explanation. Because I personally feel that they might have an explanation which may not be incorrect. It might be different from what we are thinking. So I kind of feel that it's not correct to straight take on to somebody. Please take them on the side and ask them, you have done this, so please tell me what was the rationale behind it. And for all you know, that person may be correct. So I kind of feel that whenever we are upset, please take a deep breath, count from 10 to 1, and then react. And believe me, a reaction will be much better.
I let me confess, I react in the traffic today after listening to Dr. Vora. I won't ever react. At 3 seconds where I am wasting, my blood pressure shoots, my heart rate goes up, and the guy or the lady is gone. Okay, so a new learning for me. Regarding the pulmonologist thing, we actually had a discussion on this. Somehow, there is a bias. Let me tell you, I have been blessed. I have not got this, or I have not been through this bias when I did my pulmonology. And after I started my practice, but the bias was definitely there when I was doing my medicine. But I had other colleagues and other teachers who were very, very supportive. And you just have to let go, and you have to maybe prove yourself a little much more than the others. But I think, you just don't have to be, this should not be a setback, that this is how someone behaved with you, or maybe that was the perspective that person's day, bad at home, at work, or with one of the patients, and just move on. Because I think always look out for the more supportive people. That is what takes you on. Negativity, hey, just see that negativity and say, this is not what I want to do. I take a look upon the negative people also. This is not what I want to do. And the positive people are something whom I'll take along with me and I'll walk along with them. So like here, all the positive people sitting in front of me, on the screen. So these are some of the people who've taken me together, and I would love to walk with them, continue the journey.
Very well said, Vrushali. I would like to add a little more. So the question over here by Dr. Anupama was that, is there any gender bias, and how do we actually female pulmonologists actually overcome this? So I basically want to very honestly say that I really don't know there's a gender bias or not. It's all in your mind. Because the thing is that if you want to feel that somehow my abilities are being not appreciated, then you will feel wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I personally feel that I will look into becoming just so very perfect in my work that nobody can ever find a fault even if they want to. And I very honestly feel that, when I joined Bombay Hospital, everything was against me. I used to look very young when I joined. When I became a consultant, I was actually older than many other people, but I kind of looked younger. And I remember I was wearing a sari every single day. I used to put powder in my hair to look older, because I kind of realized that, looking young was actually something really going against me. But the thing is that you basically decide that you want to be just so perfect that nobody can really point a finger. So I kind of feel that if we want anything to bog us down or pull us down, then anything can ever pull us down. Something like, because I'm married, there is a problem. Because I have in-laws staying with me, there's a problem. Because I have children, I have a problem. So I basically feel that if we have decided to excel, we have to be able to put in everything that a male colleague can put in. If we are putting little less than them in, then we have to accept that there would be a gender bias. If we are putting in completely, and if the person still has gender bias, then we just have to feel too bad for that person and move on. But we will not let such people affect us, because we know we are awesome. We know we really rock. So we don't want somebody else's appreciation or tick mark to say that we really rock. We are going to work for ourselves. If others appreciate, they have a good taste. If they don't appreciate, too bad. They just miss out on us, and we just don't look at them. We smile at them and we move on. I think just do that. I've done that all my life, and nothing has pulled me down.
This was the same teaching with Dr. Agam Vora. I started today's lecture, on how lion is supposed to be the king of the jungle. It's not because he's smart, not because he's the huge person, not because he's huge, not because he's fastest, but just because he has an attitude in himself, and he thinks that yes, he is the smartest, he is the youngest, he is the toughest, and he is the bravest one. So it's the how you think and you become. That's what it is. No one made a lion a king. He himself made him king of the jungle.
So there is a small verse. Again, sorry, I'm that music dance kind. So it is like we can't always choose the music life will play for us, right? But we can choose how we dance to it. So I think that is more important. And we should be happy with the choice is another thing. I think, I mean, we can wind up with this kind of an attitude that it is how we decide whatever life throws us at, so they can throw curveballs, we'll learn to make them into meatballs and gull them up.
So yes, today's key, whatever we learn from all the, I would say the masterminds in pulmonology, and there were some key points which they gave to us: the dedication, the passion, honesty, attitude, belief, faith, courage, and think big, rather dream big. And yes, you have to make it possible. More you be truthful to yourself, definitely success is all yours. Let it be in whatever situation you are, wherever you are. Be true to yourself, and success has to reach you. Do not run behind money. Money is going to follow you 110%. Let it be whatever, wherever you are. If you are worth it, it's going to follow you. You don't need to run behind money. So by this, I would like to end the session over here. would like to thank Dr. Krishna for the mind-blowing session and allowing us to reveal all the secrets of the magic of these stalwarts or the creamiest layers of CCI so that we take home something today over here or maybe over here from them. Thanks a lot for this session. Thanks a lot, Dr. Amita Nene, madam. Thanks a lot, Dr. Murali Mohan, sir. Thanks a lot, Dr. Vrushali, madam, and Agam Vora, sir, and Dr. Raja Dhar for joining on online over here. I thank CCI for giving me opportunity to take vivas of this creamiest most layer, though being a backmost bencher of the class. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Cipla, for supporting in each and every ways, every time. Thank you. Thank you.
And Dr. Vikas, thank you for some brilliant moderation, really lively moderation.
I was about to say that. Thank you, Dr. Vikas. You've done such a fantastic job and you really extracted the best out of us because we didn't know questions from before. We had no idea what we had to talk, but you basically made sure that we came up with something which was quite sensible, if not impressive.
Maybe I was being too cunning over here.
And I was thanks to Dr. Krishna. A huge big thanks to Dr. Krishna for thinking of something which is so out of the box. And I think 3 cheers for this. I have really enjoyed this webinar the most. And I think there were a lot of things that I was not taught when I was young. And I had to keep on learning by mistakes, or you realize, oh, I blundered, and then you learn. So I just feel that everybody who has heard us, please, please, please learn to give respect to others. Only then the respect is going to follow. Please want to move ahead in life, holding hands of everybody. Don't ever want to move ahead alone. You'll be too lonely over there. And at the same time, please be good, be sincere, be nice, and importance and money will follow everywhere. And a huge big thanks to all my co-panelists who were so fantastic. Dr. Murali, Dr. Vrushali, Dr. Agam, and Dr. Raja. Fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Good night to all.
Sir.
Because a brilliant moderation. Krishna sir, CCI, thank you so much for this opportunity. I think this is the only unstructured kind of a webinar which must have been done. And one parting thing from Vikas is, how do you motivate your patients? They are one of the people, we do that all the time, but you do it day in and day out. So one parting thing that we are motivating each other. How do you motivate your patients to go to through 2 years of therapy? A few lines from you, Vikas.
The key role over there is thorough counseling and giving example of your own self, that after taking these medicines, it's not you, but even if I consume these pills, even I am going to face or go through the same problems what you are facing right now. I know how genuine you are. I know how terrible you are feeling right now. I do understand your pain. So just step in his shoes and then counsel your patient heart to heart. Trust me, he will listen to you, like whatever matters. Let whatever comes in your way, let whatever, you drugs you give him, let whatever the side effects. But yes, once he knows that my doctor knows the pain, what I am going through, he understands my pain and he's treating me. So I am probably in the right hand. Let me just follow him blindly, whatever he tells.
And maybe add, where I generally do not say 100% cure, but in such cases, I do tell them, I tend to lie that you will be definitely all right after this.
So I give them a hope. Even XXDR patient, आप 99% ठीक हो जाएंगे, आप टेंशन मत लो. आप Google करिए, guidelines में लिखा है 30%, but just keep following what I'm telling you. Maybe 95% will make a difference.
You are the 100%. You're for yourself 100%. Great. And beautiful webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I must say this CCI is special because this is the only organization which will have a webinar like this. No appreciation for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hats off to Dr. Krishna and CCI. I really enjoyed doing this webinar. I really loved it.
Great.
Thanks a lot. You all made our day at the CCI webinar. We are grateful to you. Thank you, everyone here.
Sure.
Okay.
Great.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, sweet to everybody.
Thanks a lot to everyone for
listening.
For Amita, it's not good night. She's still got another 6 hours to go. So.
Oh, I have so much work. I have like some telephonic consultations big time lined up, So I'm not used to seeing my house at this time of the day. Except for the CCI webinar, thanks to Dr. Krishna.
Okay, good night all.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you all. Bye.